So now I have to wear
Yeah.
expensive glasses and it's like.
All right, welcome everybody. 6:30, I don't know, 5.
6:35.
And we're gonna open the meeting with pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Little roll call, Marlo Herrick, Chair.
Sean Clark. Ben Nato.
And meeting rules and procedures, just, be courteous of everybody, and if you have something to say, you can raise your hand, and we'll try to get to you when it's your turn or appropriate. And now we're gonna move on to announcements.
This weekend is the kayak races here at the river across the street. And I know there's an event taking place. David, would you like to?
Sure. The Webster Democrats are sponsoring a breakfast for the entire community. That will be from 7 to 9:30 in the Grange downstairs. And we do see a lot of the kayakers first thing in the morning coming to drain our coffee. But all the money goes to the food pantry, and so we're happy to pass that on to Peg, and then we'll continue some good work there.
Awesome.
And I also might note that the church is having a supper the previous Saturday evening, that Saturday beforehand, so there's an opportunity to do two things and support your community. Thanks for the tip.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's all I have for now.
I didn't know you
Okay.
had. That's awesome.
Okay, old business, appointment of the Salt Shed Committee. So, I think just tonight, we're just gonna talk about who will be on the committee, maybe set up a meeting and a time. I don't think there's much more discussion needed, but, if we want to discuss, how do you want to go about,
Well, I think that you had, we had decided that you would appoint members of the committee. I think you have 6 names. I'm just gonna pass that to you. You may have that.
Thank you.
And I think at that time, then it would be a good idea for you for the committee to pull themselves together with your support.
Okay.
And they will set their meetings and agendas.
Okay. So on the salt shed, the, potential members, Emmett Bean, and, he has spoke with you.
I've spoke with everyone.
Yep.
The only one that wasn't sure was Mr. Hemingway.
Okay. And,
Dave.
Dave. Oh, does he want to be on?
well, that's what we're working on right now. We're talking about it.
So just make sure.
Are we, do you want 6 or 5?
You've got 6 on there, depending if.
There's 5 on 5 listed, I think we're just.
Yeah.
Are we missing
one name.
somebody?
Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
someone.
I just wanna make sure that was,
Yes.
yes.
Oh dear, good help is so hard to find.
Okay.
We're not gonna tell who I left off.
No, it's okay. Wasn't so great.
Thank you, sorry.
All right. Addie Mock, Margaret Foss, Craig Fournier, which I believe they have spoken into being on it.
I have asked everybody, yes.
Yep. And then Chris Shadler. And Dave Hemingway is probably the only one that is not sure if he wants to be on it, which is fine. We can, if you decide that it's not something you want to be part of, we can look for. I think we were looking for some of your history.
Commitment.
Huh?
It's time commitment. I'm
Okay.
happy to show up to some of them, but it's mostly time commitment.
Okay. So do we want to speak with somebody else to do it? Yeah, go ahead.
How did that list get compiled?
Well, we tried to take, for example, the road agent would be part of it, okay? Addie being somebody that's got building experience and, road
No, I
building.
mean, I'm not looking for justification of each person, I'm just wondering how it got compiled, because I had told Amanda, who isn't on it, that I would be on, that I would volunteer to be on it. if
Okay.
I guess you
needed.
can be that person. you'd like to be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I guess you can be that person if you'd like
the
to be.
person that was forgotten.
No, just somebody
told us,
wasn't listed
so we
on here,
wouldn't know
that was
that.
all.
Yeah.
No, Dave Hemingway's not interested, so if you would
Oh.
like to be, I think we were trying to compile people that were, you know, a little bit of everything, and there was history with Dave, but he doesn't have time to be part of it,
And
so
Amanda, I don't know if Amanda was,
No,
she
she
didn't.
said she wasn't going to.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
she
she
made
had said
that
a
clear
time
in the
commitment.
beginning, she didn't have the time to do it,
That's
so.
to answer your
Very
question, she made it very clear, in fact, I asked her specifically when she was talking with you, so.
So if you would like to, I don't have any problem with that, do you?
No.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, not at all.
No? So that would be who our committee is made up of.
And how do
I said
you,
Craig, right? Yeah.
how do you structure your committees? Do you have like a chair and a co-chair and how do you have the structure?
Yeah, well, I would say, yeah, usually there is a chair.
That would be for you folks as a committee to decide who you'd like to be your chair.
Okay.
That
Do you
would
have
make
a
sense.
template you want us to follow, or is it completely up to us?
Well, I think being that this problem has existed, as we all know, for the past 6 years, I think that's a very good question, because I don't think we've gone to this intensity. I don't want to speak from my chair here, but I don't think we've gone to this intensity with the committee on such a dynamic issue.
Huh.
And if you think about it over the past few years, so I think we sit down maybe in a work session, some of us can sit down with you or whatnot, but I think you folks all have the intelligence, the experience, and capability to figure out, you know, put a template together and come back to us and say, this is what we'd like to do, and this is how, you know, and that involves, of course, visitations, and involves some of the things you've been doing by yourself, which have been very helpful, and sharing that with the committee. I mean, you've done a lot of work yourself, so.
Russ,
that
will you
makes
be
sense.
part of some of their meetings, or no?
Does the board want me to be?
I don't think that would be a bad idea to help, if that's something that you feel that you would have,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
can
how,
do that.
how you think. I just think it might help, compile, what, with you guys working together and make sure that, there is, structure, and not that you wouldn't have structure, but structure in the meeting like Peg is asking,
So Russell would be like the point contact for, when we're trying to communicate with the town.
I would say.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
glad to help as well.
Yeah,
Perfect.
And I'm not trying to sound rude in any way, I don't mean it as it might sound, but, I think you folks have the structure, the ability, the people on that committee to make things work. And just report, report is maybe a bad term again, but communicate back to us, communicate through Russ, and if we have to sit down with you, we sit down with you to give you support.
Perfect.
It's gonna take some time, you've got a project on your hand.
Yeah,
You know,
no doubt about it. I know we talked about, or you had suggested that we just appoint the committee, but I thought I was coming to give you guys sort of a little bit of a background report on what I've learned so far, which might help steer some decisions even to begin with, so.
sure, with then the structure of the committee.
Yeah, and I have some recommendations on that based on what I've learned, and I have some cursory information based on what I envision as a subcommittee thing. So I put together about a 15-minute thing. I'm happy to present that now, or,
Yeah. Do you guys have how do you feel about that?
We're running tight, can you keep it to 15 minutes?
I think I can. If
Okay.
somebody times me and just gives me a 5-minute
Morning.
warning.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think,
Dave, did you have a question before Peg comes up?
My question was regarding the structure of the committee and how you envision the committee working. Is there expected to be a select board representative on the committee? Or is it expected that the committee is gonna hand a report to the select board to approve and move forward with?
well, I think
Hadn't
that's,
really thought about that per se, but what's your thoughts?
well, I think that's a committee decision. I think, we listened to what you've got to say tonight, managerially, excuse my term, but managerially. I think you folks need to come back to us and say, we'd like a select person to work with us from time to time, or if we're gonna go do a visitation, so we have more inherent knowledge of what you're doing and what you're seeing. But I don't see it, it's a good point, but I don't see it as a necessity. And I think you need to take some time to pull your people together, and the personalities, and work
Right.
toward one goal. There's teamwork involved in this, and not everybody agrees, and that's the beauty of a committee. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
Whoever you choose to be your leader.
Yep,
Yeah, I was gonna say, my thoughts, I think, leading up to this was that a select board member would not necessarily be sitting in on it. I mean, it's always open for debate, but especially now if Russ and Dana are gonna provide some support there, I think that's a good liaison between, between the select board, and the committee there. Obviously, if there is a need for a visit, just like John had said, definitely, one of us can kind of take part in that sort of thing. But I was thinking more along the lines of a report put together and then passed through.
And I assume that the meetings would be open to the public, like all meetings, right? Of the
Yeah.
town?
That's-
Yeah.
That would
Why
be
not?
up, that would be up to the committee, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Doesn't have to
thought
be.
that was kind of a law.
Well, it's
Yes,
probably
it
just
is.
as well to keep it, yeah,
Probably
is.
open.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I thought initially that John was gonna be on it, that was gonna be part of the committee. What I'm wondering about this, and I respect the fact that you guys have a lot to do.
Some days.
It is gonna be sort of a dynamic process, and I think there'll be probably way more than one report submitted, because as we go along, the steps that we'll,
Go ahead.
the steps that we'll go through will be to identify a location, identify the type of the building, that kind of thing. I mean, these are huge decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that perhaps it'll be good as a committee for us to get together and figure out how we want to structure it. But I think that you should probably count on us having check-ins with you on a
Absolutely.
fairly regular basis, so that at the end of our process, we don't hand you a report that you don't like, because that would be.
Chris, I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I was thinking it would be kind of structured. You would have your meetings, and then there would be reports, or what you have figured out and came up with, and given us some different choices, because I'm figuring you're gonna have a couple different choices of things, and then we would discuss what you came up with.
So
Okay.
Chris, can I say something? You know how I kind of think. I think differently than some people. I think.
Do I
this-
can't hear you.
You know how I think. I think very tactically about things, okay? So the tactical goal here, business-wise, is to work together. We had this straw poll, if you recall, back at the town, which, I'm not gonna jump on one side. Some people weren't happy with that, rightfully so. They have their way of thinking. Other people thought it was a good idea. Irrespective of that, committee and all of us know now that the town wants to move this building somewhere. And I think the goal of this mission, of all of you and us involved with you, town administration, is to get that thing moved, get it moved logically, get it moved safely, get it moved at the least expense that we can do it, and have it done. Those are the four goals I look at, and, I think you folks are capable of that. I'm happy, I said to Marla, I'm happy to work with you. I don't wanna be in any leadership role with it. That's for your chairperson.
don't.
I'm happy to tag along,
I know.
keep my mouth shut and tag along, and then when you come to some decision-making, look at me like that. When you come to some decision-making points, I might have an opinion, I can share it, but it doesn't mean you're gonna go with my opinion. And if the board has an opinion, I can share that with you too, but I wouldn't do that before my two colleagues said we'd like you to share that. Does that sound reasonable?
It's fine.
Does that, no, you
I mean,
asked.
I'm seeing this as a step-by-step.
It's a big process.
Yep.
It's a big
Yeah.
process.
For
and
this town, not for,
there's- Yeah, and there's a fair amount of work involved.
Oh, yeah.
Would it be possible, once we have our first meeting, and we sort of get ourselves together, if we look at the scope of work, which Peg is gonna be critical in defining for us, should we need another member or two, can we get one?
I think we'll talk about that in our first meeting.
I know, I'm just wondering whether, if we need to expand,
I think six, you go ahead, Craig,
You get too many people.
Exactly.
I know.
And decision-making becomes difficult.
I understand.
I think 5, 6 is a good number. I'd
Okay,
keep it at that.
we'll see, once
Yeah.
she tells
We'll
us.
start with that, and you can always make changes. All right, let me do this.
Yep.
This is gonna not take long. Do you want me here, or you want me?
come on down, it's fine.
Come on down. Okay, here we go. Because this will speak to some of the points that Chris brought up. So I've been in touch with a bunch of people at New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services and the UNH Technology Center. Aubrey Volker is the salt coordinator, and she put me in touch with just a ton of people. So Scott Kindman is a specialist instructor at the New Hampshire LTAP Technology Transfer Center over there. They have just an incredible stormwater research center over there that I used to use in my previous work. Anyway, he is like Mr. Salt Shed, okay? You might know him, because he used to be a chief of police.
Yeah, I do know Scotty Clark.
Yeah, and he was the road agent of
Lebanon?
Moltenboro.
Well, Scotty and I, let me be very truthful, true revelation. Scotty and I were a SWAT team together for 10 years,
There you go.
so that's how it is.
Yeah, and I could tell he's like you. He's like right to the point, and I just love the way
Is
he
that a
talks.
compliment?
It reminds me a lot of my dad. It reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad was in the Navy, and he's the same way. He's like,
Scott is, first of all, you're 100% correct. Scott is a very trustworthy, knowledgeable, capable person.
yeah, this guy is outstanding. He's
Yep.
way smarter
Yep.
than I am. And he was a road agent in Moltenboro, a town administrator at Durham, and a public works director in Alton. He's built a salt shed, blah, 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 blah. This guy's resume is incredible. He's willing, and he actually gets paid to come look at sites and give information and all kinds of expertise. He's given me an entire list of people that have recently built salt sheds and will make the connections with us so we can go do field trips with them. So, he's really the guy that I've gotten most of this information from. There's another guy, Alan Hanscom from DOT, he's the state maintenance engineer. Just another brainiac wealth of information, and he knows a lot about the different buildings, and I think he's one that the building committee will liaison with quite a bit with Scott. So, to cut right to the chase, I have all this material that I sent electronically to these guys. If you guys want to go through this, have at it. I've read all of it and then some. This is the big 61-page report that has the most information about salt shed design template. That's where we're really going to focus in our committee. And the way I break all of this information down is I would recommend that we have 3 subcommittees in this committee, that we do a building subcommittee, and that we do a restoration/remediation subcommittee. And then we have to have another subcommittee that's gonna be your finance and auditors, okay? Because the money piece of it becomes quite important, and we need an accountant or an auditor in all of this. And that's a typical structure. I read a little bit about committees, and it says, to start off, 5 or 6 people is usually a normal amount, and you break into subcommittees, and we'll see how it goes, and if we need more, we'll get more. If we have too many, we'll cull it down. So that's my initial recommendation. With the building subcommittee, you're gonna look at things like, obviously, your building size and shape. You're gonna look at the orientation of this building. And we talked about it a bit before everybody came, but there should be a big master plan for this 45 acres, which includes whatever you're gonna do with it in the future. If you're gonna move your town hall up there, or you're actually gonna have a DPW garage. We need to place this salt shed. It'll probably be the first thing built up there, so we have to build that in mind of what might come in the future. And your sizing should take in consideration like future growth and global warming and all kinds of things. So the building department, the building subcommittee can dive right into that, and I've got a ton of information. I think I should be on the building committee, just because of so much I've learned initially, and you can kick me off and have me do something else later if you want me to. So the restoration remediation subcommittee should be the second piece of it. I've been in touch with a woman who works in the Drinking Water Groundwater Bureau. Her name is Melissa Lang, and she runs the grant program for that. And I used to liaison with the grant people all the time in the program that I worked with, which was the polluted lakes and rivers and streams. And once we did the computer modeling, we'd say, okay, grant people, get this town money so they can fix things. So I'm very aware of what grant applications are all about. It looks like in my preliminary work that we're gonna qualify for the maximum grant, which is a $25,000 grant to help with the remediation and restoration of that. The key component being because it's contaminating the drinking water for the school. And we've got who was it that sent me the water chemistry report? Was that you?
I think it
Yeah,
came
so-
from, yeah.
I'm gonna work with Melissa when the time comes to likely do the grant writing on that. And I know exactly, I'm familiar with how to write grants so that they say the right things so you get the money. Okay, so I'm definitely, that's one of my areas of expertise as well. And then, I don't know who should be on the finance committee, because that's not my cup of tea. So we'll have to figure that out when the time comes. I think the first thing that we need to do is, we'll have our meeting, and then right away schedule a bunch of field trips so that we can go look at sheds. And I think the first piece of this needs to be, you know, the building committee to just dive right in and figure out, you know, what size we need, what style we need, blah, 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 blah. One of the things that came out of this Clear Roads research that was done is they have a computer model that you can use, and Russell's gonna get me some information on this. You can actually calculate the size of the building you need using this computer model based on, if you take your last 5 years worth of data, you can calculate it using the weight of the salt that you bought, or the actual diameter of the pile. It's really interesting. I used computer models in my previous work, so I actually looked at the math of it, and it's really awesome environmental engineering that they've done. So I can run that computer model for you, because that's what I used to do, okay? So that's why I'm saying I should probably be on the building committee, because one of the most important things I can do to start off with is, if you give me that data, I can run this model. It'll take me about 15 minutes to run it, and I can say, okay, here's the 5 different shapes, and based on these 5 shapes, these are the sizes we're looking at. And then we go into this list that Scott gave us, and we say, oh, okay, well, they built a dome, and they built a U-shaped building, and they built a barn, and we can go look at these and kind of get the ball rolling. So those are my initial thoughts on it. There's a ton of information in here. So, you know, you guys are welcome to it. I guess you can contact Russell and he can forward all this to you if you wanna read through all of this. You know, a lot of it's kinda engineering designs and stuff like that. You can get bogged down in it, but the most important thing is decisions to be made, like not only the size, but you wanna look at how you wanna use this building. Many of the buildings that are built now, you wanna be able to have this size properly so that you're loading and unloading the material in the building. That's a huge piece of it. So that has to deal with containing your runoff. So what you do is, once you have the size of your building, then you back calculate using this tool, and you can identify the footprint of the impervious surface that you need to build the building on. And that's where you start. So you start with all the building stuff, and then you back calculate that pad, if you will, and that'll probably be the first piece that gets built. You know, you build your pad, then you put your building on it, then we start hauling stuff over there, then we remediate. It's sort of a 4-stage process.
Craig, did you have something?
Well, I was gonna ask, can't you take like the length of the roads in town and determine how much material, how much?
Yes, you can. That's another part of the computer model. You can use lane miles, and if you use that, they have a suggestion, I believe it's to add 20% to it, because future growth, and also because the side of road shoulders can change based on the roads that you're on. Some of them have shoulders and some of them don't. So lane miles is one piece of it, but the lane miles doesn't include the sides. So that is another way to do it. So yeah, I guess there's actually 3 ways you can use the computer. I don't know if we have a statistic for how many lane miles.
That's actually easier to get than the other one.
Okay, well then we'll start there. So then you'll get me the other 2. We'll run this computer model all 3 ways, and then you get the average of your building.
The other thing to do is compare it with past usage, and what are the last 5 years of
Right,
salt?
well, what the lot miles are, and then what
Yeah.
he is actually, what
Yeah,
is
right.
actually gonna be.
And that's exactly what they say, is use a minimum of 5 years worth of data. If you can give me more data, that's fine.
I'll see what I
But,
can find.
you know, yeah, it's a minimum of 5 years worth of data they ask you to use to run the model. So I'll run the model, I'll be on the building committee, we'll get going with that. You know, I see this, you know, you're gonna have like your building, and then you're gonna have your remediation. As far as the remediation part and the grant stuff goes, the grant applications go in on November, and then it's like 5 minutes, perfect. And then, it's sort of like a 2-year process. You apply for the grant the year before you're gonna use it, so just keep that in mind when the time comes. So we'll make sure we get that started in time to get the money from when we're doing it. And then my only question that I had was the next steps, and my next steps you've already answered as far as how you want your committee structured. I think for some of this, especially some of our field trips, it might be valuable to have someone from the town come on the field trips with us. If you can't, we can take pictures and come back with information and whatever, but I think a lot of the groundwork initially will have to be done first with the committee.
Is it possible to have a page on the website for the committee, so that we can put all this documentation on there, so that nobody's emailing it all around? We'll have access to it?
Yeah, I can make
Just
it.
upload it on?
Yeah, you can post everything,
Yeah.
and if we're
Yeah.
missing anything, that's a good thing, because then if we're missing anything, I can, have you add it. And some of the stuff I sent you, like the certified culvert maintainers, this is the Emmett thing,
Yeah.
that shouldn't go on there. This is a
Right.
separate thing that I need to deal with Emmett. And, something that we definitely need to talk about sooner than later. This is important for the town to get, because my understanding is, if you're not part of this program, you guys should be submitting at the minimum permit by notification for every culvert that's being replaced in town. Are we doing that? Probably not. Okay, so we're gonna meet separately about that. We'll have a whole nother discussion and maybe another different meeting about that.
Yeah.
So Peg, can I say something?
Yeah,
I've sat here for going on a year and a half now, listening to this. Quite frankly, that's the best presentation I've heard about direction, causation, no, I'm being truthful with you.
wow.
Causation and everything, I mean, I've heard a lot of why we should,
Where's
why
my
we,
pedestal?
why we should, why we shouldn't.
Where's her
But-
crown?
But it's, that's a lot of good information, it's a direction that I haven't seen, and of nobody's fault, just that people haven't been able to organize it, people don't have the time, and that's why I think some of you folks are retired, some of you aren't, I get that, but it puts together some good skill sets to get this going.
Yeah, I can't take credit for a lot of this, because a lot of the people that I'm talking to are a hell of a lot smarter
Well, you
than I
got some
am.
good people on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter
Who
of,
you surround yourself with is where it's always
Right.
at. Yes, Craig?
Last week or week and a half ago, Teresa Finnemore, who's on the planning commission, and I went to the Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission.
Mhm.
And there was a presentation there. The Central New Hampshire Planning Commission became part of the Northern Border Regional Commission. Now, that's important because it opens up some avenues for funding, is what it does. And they're interested, because it's northern, think northern forestry, think forestry, whatever. But they have some money. They're particularly interested in workforce. If they can give a town some money for workforce, or timber industry, or local loggers, they're interested in that. So it looks like, to me, reading this stuff, that we might be able to apply for a grant of, it would be 50-50 for, I'm thinking for a salt shed for, not just have an Addie Mock go up there and throw in a pole barn, that, you won't get any money for that. But if you wanted like an engineered wood laminate, something like that, well, and all these grant stuff, you have to be pretty organized, you have to have your plans, here's what we're doing, They don't just go giving out money, and not only that, you're competing with other towns for grant money. But
Where the forestry side comes, because I've heard a little bit about that, is they're trying to look how to, utilize lower end wood.
yeah,
And so what I think you're saying is there's grants out there, to be able to, if you put up a salt shed, and not to be steel, it would be using some of your laminated and wood where we can use the lower end quality wood to create, the building instead
With
of,
local loggers,
yeah.
with the local loggers. So you're using materials and the labor of local people, and that's a big part of this grant,
Yeah. So it depends
to
on,
help communities. Sorry.
But
Teresa, who you took with you to the,
Oh, you're Teresa.
yeah, she,
Oh.
that's who,
she's on the.
that's who she is.
She's
Okay.
an up and comer,
Not so much.
Well,
thank you.
Teresa's also a fellow DES ex-employee too, so we sat
Yep.
within eyeshot of each other for many, many years, so.
Yep.
I think that, that will definitely be something that the building committee is gonna have to look at when we're considering different designs and we're looking at the prices of all these things. Some of them may or may not qualify for grant money, which then, you know, I usually like to lay things out as a decision matrix, and then you decide, you know, from there, is the best course of action, or at least have choices for people to make. So again, depending on what our needs are up there and the total cost that we are gonna be able to afford, you know, that definitely comes into play. And some of the parts of the model and some of the buildings that they suggest have certain longevities associated with them, which also then becomes part of that decision matrix, that you say, okay, do we wanna spend $100,000 and have a building that'll last 15 years, or do we wanna spend 300,000 and have a building that'll last for 30 years? And, you know, that's all part of that. So, once the building committee dives into it, then definitely that's exactly the kind of information we'll need to contribute to that.
Thank you very
That's
much.
about all I
Yeah,
got.
thanks.
All right,
Awesome.
thanks for giving me
Appreciate
the
it.
time to do that, appreciate it.
All right.
We done?
Hang on,
Okay.
I'm gonna make
I-
a motion.
Well, I think that we move forward on the salt committee.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, do we have to, yeah?
David, are you willing to help them, at least with the financial aspects of this? I know you mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm happy to go and attend various meetings. I'm happy to go on field trips. What I can't do is promise that I can give all of the time for like everything to always be there and be a real contributing member. But I'm happy to,
You have some financial
To show up at
background
times.
that can help, or?
well, I've been the one most in the weeds with the town's budgeting and financial aspects and what we've set aside in the funds and so on, so.
Right.
I think that's why they're saying that, but I'm an engineer by trade, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we have a fair amount of work to do before we need to call people in
No.
for assistance and more information.
But just so you've got somebody in your back pocket.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome.
Could we have a motion, Marlo, to appoint these people, and if the board can sign those? I don't have one for Mary Jo, because I need to, which I will get, to be sworn in with the clerk.
And we're hearing that you wanna be on the committee, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't,
Okay.
listening to some of this stuff, I think, well, am I gonna contribute to this, but,
Moral support.
Peg's gonna do that.
Well,
This is why we
No,
love this.
I'm not, I can't. I'm not smart
Well,
enough.
I think the qualities of Webster can come out with this endeavor, and I think it's, meeting the people involved, and it's a major project. It's the biggest project we've had in town since the bridge, and since the, and we really didn't have this kind of committee necessary for that, and Dave can talk more about that, but the whole public safety building was kind of based on that. I think they had 10 or 12 people in that committee, so, right?
I'm not sure. I was
I
not-
wasn't-
Well,
Yeah.
I'm remembering seeing the size of the committee, so.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we make a motion,
Right, and you can list all the people
Okay.
together, you don't have to have separate motions.
all right, for these people to be part of the salt shed committee. Emmett Bean, Craig Fournier, Margaret Frost, Addie Mock, Christine Shadler, and then
Mary Jo.
And Mary Jo McGowan.
Okay, McGowan. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then,
So if you could sign those,
Okay.
that would be great.
Do we get sworn in with Mary?
Yes.
oh yeah.
Okay.
And you can do that right.
And if you would like, Stephanie's downstairs,
Stephanie.
just waiting for you.
Oh, I bet she is. Okay.
Great.
So just sign by appointed by.
Yes, yeah.
All right, and then we'll have a good
And you
meeting
can go down to
when
it as well,
when
and
our
she'll
first
make the
committee
form
comes
up.
together.
No, I got one.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you, thank you
guys.
guys.
So you're gonna
Appreciate
get
y'all.
me, next steps, you're gonna get me
I'm gonna do
numbers.
that, and then I need to get everybody's email address, and I'm gonna create an email for it.
Perfect. You got mine.
I'm gonna get yours. I have
Let us know when
Chris's,
they're
I have
Yeah,
Craig's.
with the board, yeah. You guys will let us know when you get something together.
You
Yeah,
wanna
we're
bring
gonna
this
talk-
paper with you.
We're gonna talk right,
Oh,
we're gonna talk right now and figure out when our first meeting is gonna be of the committee.
Okay.
And then we'll invite whoever wants to come to that meeting.
Okay, okay, all right, yeah, I think Sean would be happy to be the liaison.
I'll be in the
Yeah.
background if you need me.
Perfect.
Sorry, I couldn't get that, like,
Sorry.
plug beer.
He's going down to John.
Okay.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Come on.
Yes.
So far.
So good.
We should have waited till it was signed so we could send it down with them.
Well, that's what I was hoping to do. I'll go down with it.
I think it's only one
Did
page.
you see me running
Nice.
after
Do you want me to
people?
go down with it so you can get to the
Extra.
next item on the agenda? Cause I'm not involved in the.
Poison ivy removal contract,
Contract,
which, did,
cause I can bring those down for you.
Can you?
So you can go to the next item, so we can get out of here by 8 like you want to.
Yep, we need to.
One more.
And then I'll see if Stephanie can make one up for Mary Jo, and we'll bring it back up, get it signed.
Nice.
perfect.
Yeah, can you do that, Russ? That'd be
Yeah,
good.
I'll make sure.
Just so she's tied in.
Yeah, I don't like.
I didn't
losing-
realize, I was standing right beside her, I didn't realize she wanted to be part of it,
You
but she'd
should
be a good person.
Don't find out.
He did.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Russ.
Okay. Poison ivy removal contract.
Well, you've heard a little bit about the poison ivy. And so Amanda Kilmeister, had gotten this estimate. Well, actually, I think Brenda got the estimate last fall. And, the price was what, $27.40, I think it was,
So
something.
it's gone down?
Well, let me look before I tell you. $23.40.
Okay.
Yeah, with your discount. And so they wanted to know if you would support approving that, so they could eradicate the poison ivy at Corsair Hill Cemetery. If you did do that, we were also thinking of asking the adjoining property owner for permission to go over the wall for 10 feet or so they can treat on the other side.
So it doesn't crawl under the.
Exactly,
Destroyed, yeah.
exactly. And this is from Belknap Landscaping.
And it's pretty much the same price they got last year, is what you're
Yes,
saying?
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I don't, does anybody have any?
Oh, that's great.
They have a budget for it, we talked about that last
Yes.
time, I think,
Yes,
so
they do.
that's.
Some
that's
little
in
kid
line
goes
with
up
that.
there and falls into it, you know.
Would you like me to sign on behalf of the town of
Yes.
Webster?
So,
Hey, I like support, my friend.
let's make life a little easier.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we only got 45 minutes. All right, emergency plan update.
The emergency plan was approved by the town at the end of 2017, I believe. Obviously, it needs a lot of updating. I have spoken with Rob Walensky about it. Fortunately, we don't have to, the planning commission had done it last time with Stephanie Alexander, who has done a lot of plans in the area. However, this works a little different than the hazard mitigation plan. It doesn't have to be approved by anybody or go any further. She's happy to help us with what we need. I think most of it is bringing the proper players in the right position. And and I'd be certainly happy to help as well. But Rob, I made copies of it for him to review and to get it started.
I'd like to have Rob come in and visit with us, because I'd like an update on what's being done for emergency management.
Okay.
Preparations, storms, a lot of things have happened since 2017, so.
A few things, yes,
And not just in Webster, but I'm talking,
I know.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, I will talk to Rob about
Yep.
that.
Just, just go over things and see what things are. Is that okay with you?
That
too?
sounds good.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd love to learn about it.
Yep.
I think Rob's a good person to do that.
All right, correspondence.
Correspondence, I had a gentleman from Lewis Tree Service in, they're working for, I think it's, Eversource Public Service Company on the hydro power line, and they have 4 trees that are located on the town's property that was the former town dump on Pleasant Street that they'd like to remove. I didn't think you'd have an objection if they removed the trees.
I won't chain myself to the tree. I saved
Okay,
it.
all right, well, that's a relief. Let's see, Russ, you had
I
a,
have veterans credits.
yeah,
So every year after April 15th, people apply for tax credits and exemptions. Most of them are veterans credits, new veterans to town, a couple solar exemptions. And they just need to be signed by the board. I've already verified and all the documents have been received. And I have been collecting them for the last,
How many signatures do we need on that for a while?
so 2 is technically enough.
Okay? No, how many
Oh,
portfolios are we signing?
probably, let me count it, count them. This is a duplicate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
All right. Good with that? Yeah,
We have a choice.
Yeah, people will be very upset.
maybe, if, moving
Just
forward.
give me a
if-
file. Give me a file.
If,
Well, I'm gonna pull up the right page.
Oh, okay, that'll be helpful. Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
you've been collecting them as it goes, so maybe next time you'll bring them up a little sooner.
I usually do them all at once,
Oh.
but I can do it.
So, anywhere here?
Yep, it's on the bottom. If you don't want them done all at once, we can just bring them up as they come in.
That would be helpful. Date, please.
20th.
20th, yeah. We should do that.
It's weird, sometimes you remember it, then all of a sudden it leaves you. There you go, Sarah. Bigger shoe. I love when I do that, that's just the thing.
I think that's last year's.
were these all veterans?
No, they're all various things. Most of them are veterans.
Okay.
John did the same thing, he signed it.
I think it's the last year.
I don't know really what those
How many more of
I
these?
saw that before. Oh my gosh.
Double check. I think some of these I've seen already from last year.
That's my assistant's
Just
on
wanna clear that up.
That's me at work now, because I'm a notary now, so I'm basically telling my CEO, all right, listen.
You can
Yeah,
always have
sign in the right
something.
place, I don't wanna do this again.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we might be done.
Can't notarize my own signature,
That was
that's the
effective.
problem.
That is an appointment for Stephanie Plages as deputy town clerk, reappointment. So if you sign the bottom.
Yep.
Stephanie had mentioned, maybe it just hasn't passed yet, there was something going through the
Oh,
house
right.
that was not gonna allow her to hold 2
It
positions.
failed.
It failed.
Awesome.
Yay!
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God, cause
Yeah.
even that night, I think it had passed one, right?
Right. You didn't, I wrote several letters to representatives on that.
Oh, good,
And
thank
I don't know
you.
whether that did anything, but
Well,
I'll take the
It
credit
never,
if it was
it never
good.
hurts, that is a fact. I don't know why, oh, God. That's just such control, too,
Well, and there must have obviously been some
problem.
person
Somebody
with an
got,
axe
somebody
to
good over
grind.
somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Craziness, crazy, municipal craziness. Thank you. Municipal craziness.
Life craziness.
That too.
That's perfect.
Put your personalities in place.
Like, yeah. I'll tell you, that's one thing about kind of doing this and knowing your own business for years, like, oh, I thought it was crazy sometimes.
Since you're busy signing, I'll just finish up with what I
You're a
have.
good man, thank you.
Are you all set, or you got more?
No, that's it, I'm just waiting for the last one.
Postage.
And we have intended cuts.
And you've got 2 intent to cuts?
I'll, yeah, just take a look.
Those are in there.
Another good look.
Thank you.
Is this coming back to you too?
Yes, please.
All right,
That's
it?
all I have for
good.
signing. Yeah.
Any other public comment?
You got a couple hours?
No. So, select board motions and approvals, approval of the draft meeting minutes.
Right.
Somebody wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the draft meeting minutes. I did kind of go through those.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
We have another set that you'll be getting next time as well.
Okay.
That you don't have now.
And then signing of documents and motions for payment,
You've done it.
okay,
You've done the signing.
all right. I
I think
guess,
this might be a record.
Yeah.
does anybody have anything else to say?
I think it's a very efficient meeting.
Got your wish,
So we will adjourn, the public meeting at 7:25. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. Think we're good?
That's good, it was a good presentation.
Can I have a few minutes?